I have a theory for how the team behind Succession got me to care about the characters even though they are absurdly wealthy and morally bankrupt. Because Succession was some of the sharpest and funniest TV I've seen, but since the beginning I've been uneasy with my feelings towards the main characters.
We are the company, though. Yeah. Our dad is the CEO.
Okay.
I'm not exactly rooting for them, their behaviour is despicable and they certainly don't deserve the lavish life they've inherited. But I can't just write them off as monsters either. To figure out how the team behind the show made me care about these characters, I went back to the very first episode. I remember my first impression of Kendall was the opposite of relatable, seeing him step out of a chauffeur-driven Mercedes and into a meeting with the founder of a successful tech startup.
Hey, buddy!
But even so, I could relate to that feeling of being eagerly excited and hopeful about my work, only to then get slapped in the face by my own failure.
We appreciate your interest in our little outfit, but I think that's it.
Come on. That's it? That's not it.
I could feel Kendall's confusion and disappointment as his ego takes a hit, because I felt something similar. We've all experienced failure. I think the writers made a calculated effort to lay a foundation of emotional intimacy. Like when we first meet Tom, he's stressing and overthinking about what birthday present to get for the CEO of a media conglomerate. But really, he's just nervous to make the right impression on his future father-in-law, which is infinitely more universal.
Please help me.
Yes. Get him a watch.
What about...
There are so many ways you could introduce a character, but Succession often leads with vulnerable emotions. The writers introduce us to Connor with him bragging to a child about some farms that he owns. But then, moments later, we empathise with him when he tries and fails to explain the gift he got for his dad, in an otherwise inconsequential scene.
It's sourdough starter to make bread. Without yeast, the old way.
Oh, okay. Old bread.
It's very kind, thank you very much.
You bet.
As I studied the show more deeply, I started to notice another type of intimacy that the writers use to make me care. Take this scene, for example. Without getting into spoilers, I'll just say that Kendall is feeling guilty and full of shame because his actions resulted in something awful happening. So when we see him return to the party, we know his smiles are a facade. Kendall might be fooling the other characters, but we as the audience know exactly what's going on inside. Succession's script is full of moments like this. Our first impression of Greg includes him telling his mum about losing his job on the first day of training. But as we're watching the scene, we know that he's not telling the whole truth, because we just saw what really happened.
This way, come on!
So in just 45 seconds of dialogue, the writers have shown us that Greg is willing to bend the truth in his favour, but they've also let us in to know something that he wouldn't even tell his mother. After that, we can connect the dots effortlessly. Maybe Greg is lying because he feels ashamed. The writers have put us inside his head. And so the characters in Succession often don't have to talk about their feelings, because we've already got to see something that no one else knows, and that little piece of secret context makes something like this 100 times more devastating.
And I think you are maybe not a good person to have children.
Well, that's not very nice to say, is it?
There have been plenty of other representations of the ultra-wealthy on screen. The genius, the dumb one, the greedy one. But these can often feel like flat, exaggerated caricatures, whereas Succession does spend plenty of time showing you how horrible the characters are to each other and to everyone else. But it also manages to show their humanity. If it's true that you can't understand someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes, then Succession gives us a chance to understand billionaires as we fly a mile in their helicopters. That's what I learned about character from this excellent bit of television. My name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLR Guide, and I'll see you next time.